transaction? How did you feel throughout this entire situation? Did you feel like you were put in the middle? Did you feel that? How did you feel? I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I want to know exactly how you felt going through that journey.
I felt like I wanted my pudding back, and the thing is, I can't change the person that I procreated with, and I wouldn't want to change it because I wouldn't have the 2 children that I do have, because I got the better part of the bargain because I got my babies. Mm-hmm. But that's something that he is going to have to answer to on Judgment Day, because if you have someone who's bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh, and you don't want to do right by them, then that takes a certain kind of someone to try to block the blessings of your own flesh and blood when you know that you're not the best thing for them. So
I'm going to ask you this question one more time. Mm-hmm. Kind of went there. So how did that affect you?
It affected me because, it affected me because I felt for my children. I knew I was a good mom. I knew Gabe was a good dad to them. But I had to, and I know this sounds really weird, I had to let the boys see for themselves who their dad was. And they had to come to their own conclusion. And did they miss out on something that was a steady, something that was real? And especially now that he's passed on, there was so much that should have been passed on to them. That their father did not.
Their bio dad.
That bio dad did not, right. That he did not provide for them. But I still made a point to not. It's still draining in. I made a point to not make those conclusions for them. They had to choose them for themselves, because hold on 1 second, Towanda. Don't leave. Hold on.
She said don't leave, like y'all just on the regular phone call.
Butterfly.
You better leave her alone.
Shit, bitch.
You missing a word. It's ooh shit, bitch.
Oh, I am. Oh, yes, correct. Ooh, shit, bitch. Yep.
That's it.
Ah, how did I miss that first word? That's like the whole thing.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Okay, I'm back. All right, I've seen situations, and Towanda, you know that I've seen situations where, parents got a divorce, and, the parents are, they have us in the middle of a tug of war, whether you're grown up or not.
Sure.
And, it's been like, oh, well, he did this to me, or well, she did that to me, and then he did this, and then he did that. And I don't feel like children should be privy to that. And even if you're an adult, we are still the children and the product of that relationship, and we should not be privy to certain things that happen between mother and father. And it sucks. It really, really does. Because you want to, I feel like, people want to tell their sides of the story, but because I lived it, that's something that I didn't want to do to my kids. Now, had I not lived it, it might have been a whole different situation. I might have been, one of those, or he did this and he did that, but
yeah,
I decided not to do that only because I know firsthand what that looks like, smells like, tastes like, walks like.
And then it's not healthy.
Right.
It's not healthy.
Well, amen.
So,
not healthy.
At all.
So, was there ever a moment where either Trina?
Yes.
Was there ever a moment where any one of my nephews did they act out because of the abandonment situations with their bio dad? Absolutely,
and especially when he and his new wife had a new family, mm-hmm. and he was an active father with them. It made them feel a certain kind of way. So they did act out. They definitely did act out, but they did not act out. What'd you say? Yeah, Bon's over here now. He's in the country. He said, "How could they not?" But there was a lot because they felt like I'm sorry, they're talking at the same time. I'm sorry, but be quiet. I'm trying to have a real conversation with you. There was a point where they felt like they were rejected. You know what I mean? And there was a time when Bio Dad especially told my baby boy that he wasn't welcome back there because his current wife didn't like the way he looked at her, like he wanted to fight her or something, which is crazy because he was just a kid. He's a little kid. He was a little kid. But if you didn't want them there, just say you don't want them there. But that's on him for allowing that shit to happen. Excuse me for saying shit, but it's the truth. Because that's bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh. That's your kid. You know what I mean? So it's,
That is. Go ahead, honey.
When they acted out, Trina, when my nephew acted out, how did you respond to that? What was your response to that?
Say one more time. When I spoke to them, and I still told them, I was like, "That's still your dad. You can form any opinion that you want because this is your opinion because it's based on your experience." I still did not, and I still will not talk negatively about him in front of them. Even though I think he's a piece of cow blob. I don't want people to hear me say that, but I think he's a piece of cow blob. He's a piece of cow blob. But as they get older, they see for themselves. They see.
So,
he's a piece of cow blob, though. He's a piece of cow blob.
So, Trina, another question is, when they were with you and when they were with Gabe, were there moments of them acting other ways to want to have some type of attention, or we just know that some teenagers sometimes act out. Is that a correct statement for you?
It is, but here's the thing, and I think it's utter BS because my first husband's family were like, "Oh, that's not your dad, but just any other." Whenever Gabe would try to discipline them, they were like, "Oh, he's abusing me. That's abuse." But no, but sometimes you, especially as boys, you need your ass beat. Period. And people might not agree, but it's just the truth. And you don't know what's going on in other people's households. You don't know. You know what people have to deal with. You just see what's on the outside, and you know what that kid wants to tell you based on his or her experiences. And sometimes Towanda, we've been jacked up before, especially Tracy. But sometimes you need to be jacked up. Sometimes you just need to be jacked up and know that you do not rule this household. And that's part of the problem because we as parents, especially in this new generation, we give our kids too many choices and too many decisions. Even with dinner, when we grew up, dinner was dinner. You get what you get and you don't have a fit. And now, okay, do you guys want pizza? Do you want lasagna? Do you want Mexican? Do you want sushi? Nah, MFers, guess what's for dinner? You eat this shit tonight or you wait until tomorrow.
Back toys.
And that's what it is. We have conditioned our children to have too many goddamn choices. You don't pay any bills. All you know is when you wake up in the morning, the lights are on, the television is on, and your phone works. Your cell phone, that is not a necessity. There have been times I have taken the doors off of my children's rooms because privacy is a privilege. That didn't come with the situation. No. You have to earn your privacy. You don't pay their bill. That mortgage does not come in your name. When that light turns on, it's because we paid the bill. When there is food in the refrigerator, that's because we went grocery shopping. You don't get a choice. If we're having tuna casserole for dinner and you don't like tuna casserole, well, guess what? Eat a goddamn biscuit and wait until tomorrow when we take them same daggone biscuits and put some bacon and eggs on it because that's for breakfast.
Pow. In the church said amen. Juicy said, "Oh shit, bitch." Oh, that's good stuff.
But it's the truth. Because we didn't have that growing up. Whatever our parents made for dinner, whatever they put before us is what we ate. And if you didn't want to eat it, guess what? You're going to bed hungry until the morning. But guess what? You sneaking downstairs to get that same daggone casserole that you said you didn't want. Except for in our family, Towanda, you know this is true. My father would say the kitchen is closed
at a certain time every night. The kitchen.
My father used to close the kitchen
every night.
So wait, let me ask y'all this. So when he said the kitchen is closed, that meant you cannot go back down and eat no more until the morning?
You can't get nothing out of the refrigerator. You can't get
nope. Sure can't. Kitchen was closed. I mean, they didn't lock it or anything like that, but the kitchen was closed. You can have some water.
That's it.
That's dope. I love that. I love that. That is good stuff.
No midnight snacks. No.
I'm gonna be honest. I want to set a timer in my house where all electronics shut the heck down.
Factor.
At like 10 o'clock and cuts back on at 7:30 or something like that.
Yeah, I be tripping because I be like, man, sometimes I be coming from the studio. It'd be 3 a.m. I be like, why are these little niggas up? Like, what is this? I'm like, and Brooke and Ned laughing and stuff. I'm like, yo, go to bed. I remember
I'm gonna speak to this person, Trippin TMB. Says, I feel like some old school parenting forms are a little toxic. I'm gonna tell you what's toxic. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody in this room. I'm gonna tell you what's toxic. What's toxic is allowing these children to feel like they have more say in your house than you do when you are paying the mortgage and paying the utilities and paying for food and paying for their cell phone bills and making sure you have a car and making sure that car has gas, get them back and forth to school. And then next thing you know, they have all the rights in the world and they can call the police on you. But then, when it's time for them to have a doctor's appointment, you can't even go into the room, but yet they expect you to pay the bill. That's what's toxic.
Pow. Take that.
And you're not supposed to know what's going on in your own child's life, but they expect for you to front the bill for it. Because they have rights as children. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Now, there are exceptions to the rule where people are being abused. And my heart goes out to them. However, semicolon. The rest of it is, excuse my language, bullshit. We buy their clothes, but yet they tell us what they don't want to wear. But they don't want to get jobs. And then they want to call you out your name. But not my children. I'm going to tell you that right freaking now.
You sound like your mama when you say it now.
They want to yell at you and they want to call you by your first name. They want to call you B. And these and kids that they went to high school with, they want to come in my house and say, hi, Trina. No, my name is not Trina. My name is Miss Trina or Mrs. Scales. Because guess what? We did not grow up together.
Right.
We are not peers. We are not equals. You can't call me by my first name like we go to, like we about to go and have lunch or coffee.
No. Amen. Preach.
Not doing that. You're not calling me Trina. No. I am old school. I most certainly am. We can end with a hymn and we can break bread together and we can do communion too. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I will not be disrespected. I will not be disrespected, especially in my own home where my husband and I pay this mortgage. And you didn't add to anything but the bill. Nope.
Pow. And now you know the rest of the story. It's quiet in this church.
And if you don't like it, you can put that shit in your corncob pipe and smoke it because I don't care.
There it is.
And that's on Puff the Magic Dragon.
There it is. Yeah. But Trina, I wouldn't even call you old school. I would just say you got some standards. That's all that is. That ain't old school. That's real school. Cause you know how they say you spared a rod, you spoiled a child. Like you know, I ain't saying you need to be like, you know, going up niggas' heads with bats, but sometimes they need that ass beat.
Well, I will say this about beating. I believe in spanking and all that other stuff, but to a certain degree, because I'm gonna tell you what. Here's my caveat though.
Yes.
I don't ever want my children to believe that if you, I don't believe in beating into submission. There's a difference between spanking your children and beating them into submission, because I don't want them to go into the world and making them feel like that they have to submit to anyone who feels like they're in a place of superiority. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to ever bow down. I don't want them to hang their heads down low. There's an absolute difference between disciplining your child and beating the heck out of them. There's a complete difference. Complete difference.
Did you ever get a whooping when you were growing up?
I didn't have that many, but I did.
Wait, say what again? Say what, Trina?
I didn't have that many, but I did. I had spankings before, definitely, for sure. And guess what? I had the whole switch. I had the whole hanger thing. We had the belt thing. We had it all. Yes, right, Towanda. Amongst other things.
Yeah, I think we all. I mean, our generation, that just came with the deal. Like, you know, when you got crazy. I remember one time, my mother, I was on my big wheel. I don't know if any of y'all old school remember what a big wheel is, but I was on my big wheel, and I was
big wheels.
Yeah,
that my brother destroyed all of, but we turned out just fine, didn't we? Yes, we did.
So I was going around the block. It was getting dark, and I used to go around this little block. And my mom, you know, she let me I would just do laps. So I heard her call my name. She came out on the porch. I saw her. We locked eyes. She said, "Sean, come in the house." And I just kept pedaling. I said, I'm gonna keep going. Green Machine. It was exactly the Green Machine. So I keep going. I do like 4 or 5 more laps, and by this time it's dark. So I'm like, all right. So I pull my big wheel into the house, and my sister was at the door like, "Oh, you about to get it?" And I got the belt, got my ass towed the fuck up. So there's memorable ones. I didn't get a lot, but there's some humdingers that I remember that actually changed the course of my life, that helped me understand what the hell's going on with this parenting stuff. So yeah.
How many spankings did the kids get?
So there was this little, like, a wooden little spoon and had a happy face on it. And that was the spoon that I used to spank them a little bit on their little tushes. And one day, Eric said to me, he said, "Mommy, hands are for hugging." I broke all the way down crying. And then that little spoon that I used, he was like, "What? Is that mine?" And there was a wrap for me. I hadn't spanked them since. And they probably needed a good 10,000 cents, but I didn't.
Ooh.
Hey, me. Hey, Towanda.
Wait, I didn't get that when you came into this house.
Hey, sweet.
Oh, that's a big negative, soldier. You keep your high.
Trina, focus. Eric was how old?
Eric was about 6.
Wait, you ain't whooped them niggas since 6 years old?
Nope, did not.
Oh, Trina.
Go ahead, baby.
Can you ask Vaughn when was the last time he whooped his sons?
Oh, Lord. Hey, Vaughn! Hold on, let me put it on mute.
All right, okay. Vaughn, turn the camera on so we can see your face, please.
Well, I don't know how to do that, but hold on.
Just
turn the camera on.
For Vaughn? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, just for Vaughn, because his hair is okay, I bet.
Just for Vaughn.
Just for Vaughn.
What's it?
All right, Vaughn. All right, we talking about blended families and disciplining kids. So, when was we asked Trina when was the last time she gave Eric a whooping, Eric and Caleb a whooping, and she said when they was 6 years old. So, when Eric was 6 years old, that was the last time when Caleb was 3, that was the last time she gave him a whooping. My question, exactly. So my thing was, I said, well, when was the last time Vaughn gave his sons a whooping, or whatever you want to call it, spanking, whooping, whatever it is? When was the last time?
Got in their face.
Right.
Last week. Last week.
See what I'm saying?
I mean, the job of parenting never ends, and the thing about this, and I've had all the Braxton women look me in my face and tell me that hitting people isn't always the option. It's not always the option. That's true. But it has to be on the table because it has to be used as a deterrent. Because if you're talking about boys, I don't know shit about raising girls. I don't have any. But if you're talking about raising boys, if you don't have a fear factor, you have nothing. Because that's why they walk up and chest up to their moms, because they think that now they have testosterone and though they're bigger than their mom, now they can take their moms. Even though some of their mothers are still whoop their ass, they believe it. But they will always think twice when there's a man in their face, because they're like, I'm not so sure. You know, and no one takes pleasure in spanking or punching their kids or whatever. I punch my kids in the chest all the time. I slap them in the face when they deserved it. I don't care what people think about me. It makes no difference because my job is done. And the thing is if you had one of them on here, they tell you that they didn't get any spankings or whippings that they didn't deserve.
Gotcha.
But if you're asking me about how some boys are raised by moms, and then see, here's the thing. Here's the math. Here's the math. And I'm just going to use you guys as an example. But this is what happens. So Braxton will disrespect his mother. You will get in Braxton's face and tell him that he's foul for doing it, and you're yelling at him and telling him to stop it. And the first thing he does is look to his mother to protect her against you. And the moment that happens, you've got to say, see, that's how foul you are. The only reason we're having this exchange between you and me is because you disrespected her. Then as soon as a man calls you to the carpet, you run back to your mother for protection.
Facts.
That's the foul shit that just needs to be eradicated from any relationship. See, the thing is, and I understand blended families are tough. I get it. But, you know, it was, when I was young and I got in trouble, I got my ass whooped by my dad. Mm-hmm. I ran to my mom. And while she was helping me lick my wounds, she was reinforcing that same message that my father got me. So there was no divide and conquer with them. They were saying the same shit. It's just my mom would reinforce it because I was willing to listen because I just got my ass beat. I'm like, well, damn, maybe she's right. Maybe dad has a point. But to not get in these boys' faces, to not spank them, is doing them a disservice. And I'll use a sports analogy. Because, you know, when I raised my kids, I raised them pretty hard. And looking back on it, I could have chilled out a little bit. I could have. But looking back at it, I coached them real hard in sports. I mean, real hard. I had people, like, look at me like I had a lady call the police on me because I was running my boy too hard in the park one time. But the thing of it is that, and there's a reason to what I'm saying this, but the point of it is that when these boys got to high school, when these boys got to college, perfect. My youngest son just walked in. When they got to high school and college, there was nothing a high school or college coach could say to them that would scare them, because his statement was, they can't even hit me. Come here, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
Come here, Brendan. So the point is, so we're talking about raising kids. Come here. I need your opinion. He does. I know. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, nephew.
What up, Bren?
All right. So ask him. I'm gonna ask you one question. Did you get spankings that you didn't deserve when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trina.
All right. No, brother. Did I? No. Ask him what you wanted to ask him, Sean.
No, I mean, the whole conversation was built upon blended families, disciplining kids, stuff like that. So we kind of got down this road. So my thing was, when was the last time, I was asking Vaughn, when was the last time he disciplined his sons? Whooping, got in their face, whatever goes underneath that category. He said last week.
Discipline, last week, for sure.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Do you feel like out of your life with your dad that him getting in your ass about certain things kept you from making wrong decisions as you grew up and as you evolved as a man?
Absolutely, yeah, because you would explain, too, why not to do things. So for sure.
Got you.
Yeah, it's not just about ass whipping. It's while I was getting on him, I'm telling him, this is why, son.
Right.
You know, I'm not just doing it for my health because I didn't enjoy it. It was just necessary.
So you had heart-to-heart conversations with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
long. We would have, somebody would ask a question and it could turn into a 4-hour conversation between us. That's just how it was. Because when they had a question, I wanted to answer it in full. This one came home from kindergarten and asked me what a prostitute was.
Dope.
So I have a question to nephew. Nephew, what made you, or let me know if it's not true, what made you comfortable to go to your dad? Well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Are you extremely comfortable with sharing and talking to your dad about any and everything?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Are you comfortable to talk to your dad about any and everything, no matter what it is?
Yes.
What got you to that point, or was there ever a moment, an aha moment, where you felt that it was okay to talk to your dad and not feel any type of rejection in any way, or that you would feel judged? So when was that moment, and how were you able to have that type of conversation with him?
I mean, it's like you said, he's always been honest with us. He always talked to us like we were 21 since we could really talk. So I can't really pinpoint because I never really felt uncomfortable talking to him about anything. Whenever I had a question, I would ask him. So ever since I could talk.
So your dad would feel comfortable to come to him to talk about it, regardless on what it is.
Yes.
And that's because he was always able to come to you guys to talk to you up front about why the punishment was the punishment, or why things were the way that they were. Is that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did. I never baby talked them like when they were born because I felt that it would disrupt their learning to speak. So I always, and that's like, you know what? I'm just always going to talk to these dudes like they're 21. So when I could hold them in one hand, we'd have conversations. Yeah, this happened at work, and now it's time to do taxes. I got to get the oil changed, whatever. You'll understand this stuff. I just had conversations with them. So it was never weird for them. Man, and I've had them bring me some stuff that, you know, would make me uncomfortable. And I was like, yes, because they feel comfortable. And the difference was, you know, they said that their mom didn't really discuss things in detail with them, and I gave them all the details of everything, except for her, except for our relationship together until they were old enough to ask questions. And that was like by the time they were 20. But before then, I kept it to myself.
Tap the bag, Vaughn.
Huh?
Tap that blue bag.
Okay. What does that do?
Get you beans.
Oh, hey, Tammy. What does that mean?
She
It's beans. It's, you know, it's beans.
Oh,
Something that should be turned into money.
Got it.
okay. So I mean, I didn't get everything right, and I know that. But you know, the thing is that you got to tell you. I told my kids right off the bat, I don't know everything. I'm learning some of this shit with you because I've never been a dad before. You know, and I think that made me more human to him because I didn't act like I had all the answers.
right.
You know what I mean, I just, you know, I'm like, bro, I don't know, but together we'll figure it out. Give me a break. You know, I'm trying to work on this shit like you. I'm learning just like you. You know, so
you are vulnerable. So to speak.
yeah, you have to be. I mean, any parent that says they know everything is a freaking liar. There's no way. There's no book. And here's the thing, and it's like I have 3 of these dudes, all by the same mom. You know, we were married, whatever. They are 3 completely different people. And if you threw another one in the mix right now, everything that I did with them, the foundation might be the same, but they're just a different person.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Did nephew leave?
No, he's right here.
Nephew, I want to ask you a question. Did that make things better when your dad came to you as a human being to say, hey, I'm not perfect, I don't know all the answers? Did that make it easier for you to talk to him?
Yes, because I knew that I was going to get the truth, not whether he knew it was right or not. He always told me, and from what I know, he always has, when he's wrong, he admits it or he just says he doesn't know.
Okay, and that made it easier for you to talk to him about everything.
Oh, yes.
Because it humanized him.
I told him, bro, I don't know. And then when I made mistakes, I mean, I went at them sometimes and like with fire in my eyes because I thought they'd mess up like that. That's not what happened. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. That was it. You can't play games like that with your kids because it's you only get one chance at this, and you're not going to be perfect. But I just always wanted to minimize the mistakes I made with them, and now speaking to them as peers to a degree. I'm always going to be their dad, and when it's time for them to listen, they're going to listen. But now speaking to them as peers, and like my oldest son sent pictures. He and his girlfriend have been babysitting the child of another high school friend. Rucker, you see those pictures with Rucker's baby? Yeah. We have a group text we send around all the time, the boys and I. But it's just watching him move. Like I used to practice with other people's kids, and watching him doing that, I'm like, yeah, he's probably 3 to 5 years away. Because when I started playing with other people's kids, like 3 or 5 years, I had a baby. So it's kind of cool to look and see them repeating some of the steps, that I did. But their steps will be cleaner, and there'll be fewer of them because they don't have to reinvent the wheel. My job was to lessen their learning curve, and that takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of trial and error. But just be real with your kids. I think I wasn't trying I wasn't trying to humanize. I wasn't trying to be vulnerable with my kids. It's just, I just didn't think that making up answers in the moment was going to help anything. So if I didn't, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Let's look it up. Let's figure it out. We'll learn it together. That's team building too. It gives your kids a cool feeling when they feel like they're helping you out. So I don't know. I did everything like a team, like a basketball and football team. Everything we did.
Go.
That's my 2 cents.
Well, that was a valuable 2 cents, Vaughn.
So now you have 5 boys.
Yes.
So how is it with that transition?
It was different because Eric and Caleb were raised so much differently than mine. It's like all my, I had a system. This is what you do when kids are insubordinate. This is what you do when they talk to their mom. This is what they do when they don't clean up. Now, I had a system and it worked. Like when they were young, I would tell them, like in summer, it was a bad time and they were home. Clean the kitchen, do this, do that. And I would come home and something would be done. I would just slap all 3 of them. And it was their job to figure out why they got hit. But after a while, it stopped happening because what happened is whoever's job that didn't get done, the other 2 got tired of getting hit. So they started policing one another. But that's just an example. But with these 2, I had to resort to everything except for physical. And I've been in both their faces. I've yelled both of them to the ground because they were just so foul to Trina. And I just had to make it up. You hear one walking in the room now, but I had to make it up as I went along. So this is what I decided, because they were adults, because they were men, and even though they both behaved like children to a good extent about certain things, I came up with this. I pulled it. Matter of fact, we were in the kitchen, right over in front of the stove. I'll never forget it. And they had both disrespected Trina to the nth degree. And I just said this. You guys are grown men. You want to be treated like men. Got you. So here's what I'm going to tell you. And now I'm going to say it. We can have any relationship that you want. Okay, we can be as close or as distant as you 2 want. That is up to you. But since you want to be treated like men, I'm going to tell you this. Just don't fuck with my girlfriend. Because if you do, I'm going to treat you like I would treat any dude in the street.
Facts.
You have no protection. She cannot protect you against me. She's not big enough.
Right.
If you disrespect my girlfriend, I'm going to treat you like I would treat any stranger in the street. And when I did that, I just made that up. But when I did that, things started to change because they knew. I tried to tell them, your mom is too small. She cannot stop me. She cannot keep me off of you.
Na 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 na.